Hello and welcome. I'm joined by Salil Parekh, Deputy CEO of Capgemini. Salil, thank you very much for being here with us. So first question, what kind of gadgets or devices are you carrying right now? Or wearing, sorry.
Carrying. I'm considered a bit of a antiquated person. I have an iPhone. I don't have any other device, no watch, no wearable. So I might have to now start putting something together so I can start to fit in.
Right. And are you feeling more productive because you carry your iPhone with you?
The thing that I noticed, I mean, this goes years back, is when I got my first BlackBerry. I genuinely felt there was a huge productivity improvement because with the email, it suddenly opened up the full day for the email. Till then, you still had to sort of use your laptop or download and so on. And equally with iPhone now, I find there are so many apps that I use, especially when traveling or with other things related to work or even some personal activities, that it becomes much easier to deal with these things with a smartphone, something like an iPhone.
Right. I mean, it's interesting you mention apps, right? So I'm guessing many of your customers are wanting to build apps and create app ecosystems to reach their consumers much better. What does that mean for you?
So for us, the digital world, which this is part of, has given three opportunities. One is how our clients, customers are interacting with them, the point you just made. The second is how their operations are becoming more streamlined because of the changes in the app. So the way their departments interact, the way their suppliers interact with them. And the third is their business model itself is changing. So whether they're in the business of hotels and someone disrupts them by putting the rooms together, on the business of transportation, or in any retail environment where things are changing. And so we see that with the banks we work with, the insurance companies, utilities companies, retail and consumer products companies, and each of them are using this in a way that their whole approach starts by thinking of how this can be leveraged. And so the apps, as an example, there are just innumerable ways that our clients are thinking of connecting with their customers and which we become involved in.
Right. So give us an illustration of some place where you think that, it's pretty, where the sort of stress points are really high and, in terms of what consumers are demanding and maybe the companies or corporations have to deliver.
I think one of the things, we work with a large media entertainment company, and they've changed their whole experience of going to one of the theme parks. So you can go, and there's an example of the wearable that you're referring to, where you can, when you initially say that I'm going to come to that park, well before you've left, several weeks before, you get in the mail a wearable device and a few RFID tags.
Okay.
So you go in, put those on your bag, you arrive at the airport, the bags are automatically transported from the airport to your location. That same tag allows you to enter your hotel room. It has all the rides sorted out because it has the ages of your children. As you walk through, it gives you updates on is some ride more busy or less busy, so you can redirect. The whole experience is changed for this thing. And so that's an example of how a business is transforming itself, and we were fortunate to be part of working there. Another example is with a retail company where there's a product which they're selling. The feedback on how that is working is on social media, either positive or not so positive. And this is immediately trapped and captured through data collection and fed back, so they can in real time make changes to either enhance it or redirect it to make sure that the product doesn't get a permanent concern, it's out of stock always, or there's some problem with it. So the changes that we see in each of these sectors is massive. In banking, we have clients where if you visit in some of our Western markets, the bank office, it looks more like a Starbucks, where people are walking around, their Wi-Fi enabled, getting updates on their phones and so on. So we see a lot of that change. We call it, like many others, digital transformation. We have done some research with the people from MIT, one of whom spoke here today, and we've launched a book with that. So to me, this whole space is very exciting because for us it's much more work, and clients are making those changes, and we see more opportunity for that work to come to us.
So what's the challenge for you? I mean, you talked about, let's say, scanning the whole, all the stuff that's happening on the social front,
Right.
and capturing it and turning it back, and but that's a skill set I'm assuming you didn't have a few years ago.
Right.
And so on and so forth. So then I'm assuming it's also, therefore, all of this is a big challenge for you and your teams.
The challenge is really building skills which are now more joined up between technology and business. So that was always something that we had to work on. But today, there's no big difference. You have to understand how a business is working to know how to leverage the technology into it. In, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago, you could still say, I will try and understand the business, write down some guidelines, and then have someone else translate it. Today, that skill set is combined more and more. So one of the bigger things that we see is that type of skill set more prevalent. The second, there's a bigger and bigger need for data scientists that emerge, and those are people who have statistics background, some business background, but also some technology. So not traditional, if you will, an engineering type of background. It's a little bit broader than that, but equally steeped in some technology and some business statistical information. So scaling up on that, not that simple. But fortunately, because our business is transforming, I think the industry is transforming, we see more and more of these sort of skills starting to become available.
Right. So last question. So how are you seeing, or rather, what are you seeing as the one or two new trends, or maybe developing trends in the next couple of years in the context of shaping a digital future that will change the way we perceive the world or we consume, and also at the back end maybe for you?
I think maybe not exactly on the digital side. I'll come to that. One of the other trends we're seeing hugely moving into the forefront is automation. So in a lot of the work that we do, we could automate some of our more elementary tasks. And that trend through automated tools is a big shift. It's a part of the digital, but is not the entire landscape of digital. Another massive trend is the expectation level for any consumer is much higher than it was in the past, because everything is available real time in terms of information, and people want to know that change can be applied to whatever they're consuming right then. So no one's waiting anymore. So the translation for us is, I think we were always quite reactive, but to be even more reactive to what's going on. And that becomes, for good or bad, more a 7/24 operation. Not just because of time zone, but because just people want that availability for everything right there and then.
Right. So in some ways, we've already got ready for it. I mean, by working on multiple time zones.
We've been there in some ways.
Yeah. Great. Salil, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very much.